Hey everyone, welcome to Helm Build's New Tool Tuesday.
We didn't have a new tool Tuesday yesterday. Today's Wednesday. We had a lot of walk-ins yesterday, some repairs we had to do. The day got away from us, so let's do new tool Tuesday today. And we're gonna focus on the SWAG Offroad tubing roller. This kit's put together very nicely. They send it to you pretty much ready to go. What we're gonna do today, I think we need to make a die holder. Just for funsies, we'll use the tubing roller to make us a sweeping die holder. I did buy the kit for optional pipe threader kit. You can see the drive roller has a big nut on it for your pipe threader to hook onto. I have not bought the pipe threader yet. That is a plan in the near future. More than likely we will need the pipe threader if we are going to roll a lot of rings, which a few goals for this machine. There's a few things I want this machine. One, I want to be able to roll the arch on top of driveway gate. In the past, I've had to take it somewhere and have that done, farm that out. Obviously, we want to be able to do that in-house. Number two, I want to be able to make rings out of 1-inch tubing for fire pits, to go around a fire pit. We have our slip roll back here to roll round fire pits. We should be able to roll 11 gauge on there, I'm hoping. If we can roll 11 gauge on there for the ring, I would like to roll a ring out of tubing to cap that with and sturdy it up. A lot of the ones you see people make on their plasma tables are pretty flexible. Another reason I want this, we live in a farming community and there's a lot of hay feeders that have 1.5-inch tubing or something similar as the bottom ring on their hay feeders. Those hay feeder rings rot out. Everything else on the hay feeder is good, but that bottom ring will rust out. I've had a few call about repairing that bottom ring. Actually had a close family friend over here that we welded up a brake pedal for an old truck he's building yesterday, and he mentioned the bottom rings on the hay feeders often need replaced, and this would be handy for that. So those are a few reasons we wanted this. Most importantly, in the future, we're going to build a few side-by-side cages. I built race cars for close to 25 years, built chassis for probably 15 years. This will be a great addition. But we're going to go through this today. It's got a nice digital gauge on it. Whenever you run your jack, there's a mechanism on the back that raises and lowers with the die, and that shows up on here. You zero it out when you're touching the metal. Once you're touching the tubing on every die, you zero it out, you jack it up, and you'll get a readout here so you can have consistent bends. I do have a homemade ring roller that we'll take a look at here in a minute that I built. It's always worked okay for flat stock, and I've used it on some smaller square tubing, but it's not super consistent, and I built it about 15 years ago. It's comparable to this, except the lower dies raise and lower, and your drive die stays still. But let's check that out now. This is the homemade ring roller I built. The wheel is the bottom of an office chair that I welded some bungs in. You can see that lower carriage with the dies on it where the grinders are hanging moves up and down with that bottle jack. I will say that bottle jack is far more powerful than the bottle jack that's on the SWAG Offroad roller, which is essentially a Harbor Freight ring roller. And this one here will bend 2-inch tubing easily, but it's super hard to roll through. I think I twisted one shaft off doing that. So it's just got a couple pillow blocks on the tower. I designed and built that, like I said, 15 years ago or so, and it worked for a while. It still would work if we had to use it, but not being precise and not being able to do tubing. You can see they're just flat dies. So we checked out the homemade ring roller in comparison to this one. This one is based off of a Harbor Freight ring roller that SWAG Offroad used to sell, just a kit that you bolted onto your Harbor Freight ring roller. Now they do sell their own called the Hulk. It has a nice hammered powder coat on it that should last a long time. As you can see, I mounted it to our cart that we put our Rogue Fab tubing notcher on, that we put our casters on, which lower and drop the table to the ground so that it can't move. This table's super heavy without everything on it. It's much heavier with everything on it, and it will not move once them wheels are down. But it will move easy with the casters down. So dies. Dies are where you're gonna spend your money on every roller. I bought every die I anticipated using immediately. I bought 1-inch square tube, 1-inch round tube, 1.5-inch round tube, 1.75-inch round tube, and 2-inch square tube. These are gonna get used a lot on driveway gates. 1.5s, 1 3/4 will probably get used a lot on roll cage type. The 1-inch square, 1-inch round, I anticipate using on fire pits, maybe some furniture we might build. Each box comes with 3 dies, your drive roller, and you can see that it's machined out for your bearings. So when they send the bender, it comes with 4 bearings that go right in here. They slip right in, and then your collars hold them in there, as well as center it on your shaft once you line them up. So this is your 2-inch square die. Nice, clean dies. Your 1.5 round die is on there. Every one of them, you get a keyway and set screws. These are your drive dies. Your drive die has a set screw on each side. Instead of having a collar to hold everything together, they machine that into these dies. You got your keyway, your set screw directly over your keyway, obviously. Machining's very clean. Keyway is cut well, very nice. So what we're gonna do today is build something to hold our dies. We could put it on our die cart, which has all of our tubing dies on it. That's an option. Or we could put it on the actual cart that our ring roller is on. We can't put it on the front because you have this handle that swings that if you want to use it in manual, which we will be using in manual until we get a pipe threader. So we would have to put it on the end, which would be fine. What I should do is leave it up to you guys. Problem is, I need to make this video and I'm not gonna wait around and see what you guys do. So I'll make that decision here in the next 5 minutes and we'll get to building. Here's what we're gonna do. If you haven't guessed it already, we're gonna put it on our die rack, or die cart. So we are going to build an arch just for funsies to go from here somewhere, arch like that, to here on the other side. Off of that arch, upside down arch, smiley face if you will, we're going to put 9-inch dowels basically coming out that will hold each die set. If we're even there, 9 inches brings us about the width of it. So have a nice area down there with a smiley with 4 dowels coming off. We have 5 die sets, one will always be in our roller. So we'll have 4 dowels coming off that. I think that'll look nice. What we're gonna use for the dies to slide on, they have a 3/4 hole in them for the 3/4 shafts. We are going to use 5/8 round bar. 5/8 gives us enough to where there's not a lot of slop in there, but it's also not tight at all. And we'll coat these real good with something. Maybe some heat shrink or something, just to keep it from marring up the inside of the dies. For our smiley, I believe we're gonna use 1.5 inches. We used 1.5 inches here. But we could use 1.5 inches. We'll use our Rogue Fab tubing notcher to notch the ends. And we will probably drill holes into the tubing. 5/8 hole, possibly, maybe we won't. Slide our dowel, if you will, in that tubing and then make the weld. If we drill them, we'll drill them straight through. If we drill them, and slide the dowel all the way through and weld both sides. Kind of build as we go, but we got an idea. That's the plan, Stan. Of course, I forgot to hit record. I started rolling some 1.5-inch tubing for our smiley face, if you will. Is more than 26 inches because our cart's 26 inches, and I mean we're close to 32 right now, so we have plenty of usable material. So here's our bend. As I said, from about here to here is usable. Yes, you're gonna have a little waste, but you need to keep that in mind when you're cutting your material to stick in here. I was told by a man much smarter than myself yesterday, after he watched the video, Steve Couch, that our RPM's real high on the drill that we're using for this. So he knew, you know, that engineering secret sauce that you need to know for RPMs and stuff, and told me the equation. Obviously, I need to get him to text it to me. But even then, I am hardly smart enough to understand. I understand a little bit. I do know we do not want to over tighten our clamp. This is a threaded clamp, and when something's threaded like that, you can very easily bend stuff. But anyway, Steve Couch was over, and old Steve told me all about the RPMs and what the drill needs to be. And I think in the handbook for this notcher, it does mention to be something like around 600 to 800 RPM, somewhere in there, which was about the math that Steve did, or in our heads a little bit. I can ask Mr. Steve Couch to come on and explain that. Comment below if you would like to see Steve Couch come on and explain cutting carbon steel and the RPMs you should be running. All right, we're gonna moisten that up a little bit right there. We're gonna go slower because Steve said so. I think we might be going too slow now. Well, we got her done. Looks like we might be a little low. We may need to raise this up a little bit. So, funny story. I'm an idiot. After careful consideration and wondering why we're not cutting through that tubing, I find out, actually very quickly, I didn't take the dang plug out of the hole saw after we cut our last hole, possibly even from a previous cut as well. We're gonna pull that out, try a do-over. Remember, Josh is an idiot. Don't be Josh. I mean, at least it comes out really easy. Check that out. Josh is an idiot. Don't be Josh. What an idiot. What an idiot. I want to save my hole saws. I don't want to get too crazy. Should we go ahead and pull that plug out of there so we don't forget next time? Now let's go clean that up on the old wire wheel. Yeah, buddy. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. that'll do it for New Tool Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed the little review of the SWAG Offroad ring roller. It's going to be a nice addition to our shop. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of fabricating we did. Wasn't much, quick and simple, but I am off to actually do some things that pay. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank y'all.